there, cutie. You look like you've just blown in on a windstorm. Is everything all right? Oh, goodness. That sounds exhausting. It's a good thing you came to me. As the resident librarian for the Knights of Favonius, I certainly know a thing or two about being overworked and needing to take a break. Oh no, no one is overworking me. But a select few of my coworkers can be classified as nothing short of workaholic. And whenever our beloved acting grandmaster gets that frantic look in her eye, I always make it a point to take her out for coffee and drag her away from her overflowing desk. It seems you've come to know Jean well yourself. Well, don't go taking after her example now. As diligent as she is, it just isn't healthy for anyone to work so hard. Here, why don't I show you the most secluded table in the library? It's a great place to sit and read, or take tea in the afternoon. No one can see you from any of the entryways, so you never have to worry about being asked to do more work. You can rest here for as long as you like. There you are. Oh, you poor thing. You look ready to collapse for a nap on this table. I do have a few cushions stashed away for an emergency nap, but first, we ought to do something about your tangled hair. You'll get terrible knots if you fall asleep as it is now. I have a hairbrush in my desk drawer. Would you mind if I brushed your hair for you? Wonderful. You rest here, and I'll be right back. Would you like a cup of chamomile as well to help you sleep? I just made a pot, so it can be ready in a flash. Lovely. See you in a minute, cutie. There you are. It's had just enough time to cool. And of course I brought some for little Paimon as well. You can just sit back, enjoy your tea, and let me work out these tangles, alright? Don't you worry, I'll be gentle. I'm quite experienced, you know. I've worn my hair long ever since I was a little girl, so I know how delicate the scalp can be. I'd never be so brutish as to tug my way through the tangles. As with most things in life, it takes a careful hand and a little bit of technique to best sort this kind of problem. A little kindness and patience can go a long way. The trick is to start with the ends. If you work out the lower tangles first, your comb won't catch as much on the way down. See how smoothly this glides? Just like silk. I'm curious, what products do you use? Someone as busy as you rarely has the luxury of an intense beauty routine, and yet your hair is always so shiny, and your skin glows like stars. Really? I can't imagine putting slime residue in my own hair. But your results speak for themselves. Does it matter which slime the condensate is harvested from? Ooh, fascinating. I'll have to pick your brain more later. But for now, your hair is all smooth and cleaned up again. And it looks like you both finished your tea. How was it? I'm glad. Here are the cushions I fetched for you. They're just the right size to lay out on the table without getting a cramp in your neck. Here you go. There. Isn't that nice? It's quite warm today, but I have a thin blanket as well, if you'd like. Sure. Oh, you look so adorable now, all snuggled up. Is there anything else I can do for you, cutie? This is a library, after all. I can fetch us a nice book and read you to sleep. Don't be silly. You're never a bother. If anything, we all owe you a bit of pampering after everything you've done for Monstadt. Even if you hadn't, you deserve to be treated well. Why don't you tell me the sort of stories you like to hear? I have plenty of fiction and non-fiction, and even children's stories and fairy tales. I won't judge. There is a universal comfort in those sort of tales, you know? It makes us feel safe and cozy. Besides, anyone who tells you children's stories don't have deeper meanings clearly hasn't read The Poor Princess. This library owns several copies of that very book because Monstadt parents keep giving it away. They tell me the ending is a little too mature for their little ones. That is true, but I think it's important we expose our children to difficult topics as well, every once in a while. Just imagine how the Spark Knight would behave if we'd sheltered her from the knowledge that explosions can cause serious injury. a slightly more mature audience, how about Vera's Melancholy? It's quite the popular romance novel, although it has plenty of adventure as well. In fact, quite a few characters travel through the stars and between worlds. You might find it relatable, given your journeys. Or maybe with your experience, it'll come across as silly. That can be a pleasurable escape in its own right. Yes, I've read it a few times myself. The only downside is it isn't finished yet. The author seems to have abandoned it, or so they say. Well, how about Flowers for Princess Fischl? I see that glimmer of familiarity in your eyes. Have you heard of it? The Adventurers Guild? Oh, that's right. That charming girl spent an awful lot of her youth here. I still keep a table clear for her whenever she's not off on expeditions. Although she's been coming in a little less these days. And lately, she always brings friends. I'm happy for her. I do wish that poor Bennett wasn't so anxious every time he comes with her, though. With as many times as Klee has caused us trouble, it's not as though we don't have excellent fire safety protocols in the building. Oh, so you've grown quite attached to her as well? That makes sense then. Why ruin the illusion when you could live out the story by spending time with our very own Princess der Verteilung, May I then suggest a local legend? There's a lovely little tale about a pond in Springvale. It's called Heart of Clear Springs. You'd like me to read it? Lovely. It's actually on this shelf just here. All settled in? Then let us begin. And don't worry if you drift off to sleep as I'm reading. I'm always happy to lend the book to you to read on your own time, so long as you return it when it's due. All right then. Volume 1. Under the cascading moonlight, a tearful boy made his wish at the spring. A fairy from afar, who had taken up residence in the unoccupied spring, listened in silence to his wordless wish. Spring fairies know nothing of distant memories or deep dreams. They are born of water's essence, faceless descendants of the angels. Thus, when the curious fairy emerged from the water and heard the cry of that boy's heart, she became interested in this life, younger and more fragile than her own. The silent fairy reached out her formless fingers, cold as the midnight dew and soft as fortune forgone, and gently caressed the boy's forehead and cheeks. Startled by the stranger's touch, the young boy lifted his head and met the fairy's gaze. "Can you make my wish come true?" the boy asked. The fairy of the spring was surprised and confused by his presumptuous question, but she could not speak, and so simply nodded her head. Satisfied, the boy left. He did not know that the spring fairy was alone, without friends or family, and that she had lost a great deal of her wisdom. Only when the spring water flowed from cracks in the stone into her pool, and when she gazed upon the fractured image of the moon in the rippling water, did she slowly regain the ability to think and to mimic fragments of speech.